Hi, welcome to another episode of Harrison Hobbies. Today we're going to be talking about hard drives. So I saw this question posed on Reddit maybe a week or two ago, and I wanted to create a quick tutorial on how to install a hard drive and get Windows imaged on it and kind of the quick process steps. So for today's video, we'll end up first taking an 8 gigabyte flash drive. We're going to go to the Microsoft website and get their installer downloaded, and so that it operates similar to a Microsoft drive similar to this one, which would come if you were to go to, for example, Best Buy and pick up a physical copy of Windows. It comes with one of these sticks. So we're going to try to get the image installed onto here, and then we will install the SATA drive into the desktop, and then we'll run through the installation process, and then we'll get everything updated and see how that works. Okay, so we'll start here on the Microsoft website, and we're in the software download for Windows 10, and then we'll start by clicking the download tool now. We'll save the file, then we'll open the file. For starters, always make sure that your flash drive here is empty. Make sure that there's nothing on there, and Microsoft recommends that you have at least an 8 gig, so this happens to be an 8 gig that I had handy, so we'll use it. Next, we'll go through and we'll read through their licensing. We'll accept. And then once it processes through, we're going to create an installation media. So we'll click here and then we'll hit next. Everything here is grayed out, so we'll hit next. And then we will do it to a USB flash drive. And it finds our flash drive here, and we'll hit next. And now we're downloading Windows 10. So we'll let this sit here for a couple of minutes. It's progressing 1% or so every few seconds. Okay, so now we let it sit here for probably 15 or so minutes. It finished installing onto our flash drive here, and so it says our USB flash drive is ready. We hit finish, and then setup will go through. It'll clean up all the files. Okay. So now we're in here. Let's assume that this is our hard drive that came with the computer. This is the one that has Windows installed, and we want to install it on this hard drive here. So this is our newly added one. So the first thing that we'll do, after making sure we're unplugged here on power, is unplug the SATA or the power or both on our spinning disk. So now the only hard drive hooked up is that one. So now the next step is going to be to plug our power supply in. In this case, the computer boots up from cold, and then we will take our flash drive, we will plug it into one of our USBs. If you've got a USB flash drive, make sure it's on USB 3.0. It's a rather big file, so it'll make installation a little quicker. And so now in Lenovo here specifically, it just keeps going through the boot sequence. So according to a quick Google search, if you type in Lenovo BIOS boot key, then we can see that if we press F12, we'll be able to get into the BIOS. So we'll do that here on this computer. Okay, let's power off. There we go. Okay, so we've got device menu. So it sees our Patriot memory. We'll try UEFI. And we'll see if this pops up. So now it's reading our flash drive. We can see the red dot there. So, and again, every desktop that you have is going to be a little bit different. Some are going to automatically detect it there. Others you're going to have to go through a couple of steps like this. But the important first step there, if nothing is working the way you expect it to, is to enter the BIOS. License should be stored in the BIOS. And so that started with the first gen Core series processors. So what we'll do now is, I forgot to plug in the Wi-Fi. We'll plug in the Wi-Fi now. We'll let it reboot. And then we'll make sure that it's seeing the CD key. So the advantage of that is you don't need your CD key saved anywhere on the machine because it's internal to the computer. So whenever you update or change your hard drive, you don't need to worry about typing in a CD key. It should automatically find it. And so now, for some reason, it's not finding our CD key. That should be fine. We'll hit I don't have a product key, and then we'll go through the installation process. This computer came with Windows 8 Pro, and so it should have the Windows 8 Pro logged in on its BIOS. So we will stick with a Windows 10 Pro, and then we'll accept the terms. And then we'll do a custom install. So the first step is going to be clicking, let's see if we can get a little bit more head on here. So the first step is it sees our drive here. We've got a 465 gig. We'll hit new, and then it defaults to the max that it can be, plus a little bit of space there for some partitions. So it's going to tell us right here we need two. We've got one for a reserve, which is around 30 megs, 40 megs, and then we have the bulk of this partition too. So now we're good here, and we hit next. And now we can go grab a cup of coffee, do whatever we want. We've got some reading and writing going on, which you probably can't see from our flash drive. It's installing all the stuff on the computer. It's a relatively simple process. We'll let this sit here for a couple of minutes. Again, this isn't a blazingly fast computer, so if you have a newer machine than a 4th gen i5 processor, it will likely process a little bit faster. And we'll stop the video here for just a minute. We'll come back once we get to a new process step. We'll just let it sit here. Okay, so it just went through. It says Windows needs to restart to continue. We will let this go here. At this point, it's already got everything installed. It didn't tell us to remove the drive, but we will want to pull the drive now. So we'll leave that there. And so otherwise, once it got through a couple of steps here, it would go into an infinite loop where it would restart, say, hey, I have a flash drive to boot to. It wants to reinstall Windows, and it would keep doing that. So by pulling it at that time, we got it out, and so now we'll get Windows ready. And this was the Windows installation process.